Good evening. My name is Soren Johnson. This is my presentation on disaster preparation, the concise plan of action for volcanoes. This is for my speech of SPCO151. Disaster preparation, the concise plan of action. A volcano is a vent in Earth's crust with molten rock, lava, and gases that escape from under the Earth, and then Earth's surface, and then breaks the Earth's surface. Development and action of plan. You need to have a survival kit and a concise plan of action. Learn your state, county, and city, town emergency plans, as well as learn your own emergency plan that you develop with amongst yourself, your family. It can be at work, it can be a combination of all of those. Develop an action plan for you and your family. Discuss the practice evacuation plans with the family. Assemble a disaster supplies kit. And what to do after the evacuation. That's often overlooked. People prepare, they have a plan to escape, they bring supplies, sometimes they don't count for the amount of days the disaster may occur, but then they don't have any plan for after the evacuation, so take that into consideration. A little bit of history. The United States is the third most volcanic active county or country in the geographically, only to be exceeded by Japan and Indonesia, which is a surprising fact. The United States averages about 5 eruptions a year, with Hawaii and Alaska experiencing most of these eruptions. An erupting volcano can cause other disasters as a result of an eruption. There's earthquakes, mud flows, flash floods as a result of electrical storms which are generated by volcanoes. The mudslides, rock flows create rock falls, mudslides, wildfires, and being in the islands, tsunamis, which everybody's aware. The information that I am presenting was gathered from ready.gov and from FEMA.gov. Volcanoes are hazardous to your health, destroy property, and can kill lives. After an eruption, volcanoes can cause lava flow across land at a rate of 2 to 5 miles per hour, depending on the terrain. Obviously, if you're in a flat, low-lying area, it's going to move approximately 2 miles an hour. And if you're at the bottom or the base of the mountain, lava flow is going to flow faster because of gravity. It can be up to 10 miles per hour. Volcano ash is also formed as a result of an eruption. Once the volcano explodes, it creates ash as well as gases. Volcanic ash is like fine ground glass that contaminate water supplies, cause electrical storms, diminish visibility, can crush roofs because of the weight of it. Surprisingly, it's very heavy, and restrictions in aircraft accessing the area and rescue if the air is full of volcanic ash. Clogs up engines and rotors, so helicopters and other aircraft are limited in getting to you after the disaster. So that's why it's important to plan ahead and account for that. The most deadly part, or the most hazardous part of a volcano, are called lyres. Lyres are mud flows or debris caused from volcanic eruptions. Lyres are debris flows made from volcanic materials such as mud, rock, and water. What happens is much like a mudslide that California and other areas experience, where rain comes down or the ash, and it has a snowball effect where it keeps gathering more and more and more and more material, and then it's mixed up with this volcanic ash. Lyres can move at a very fast rate. They've been known to move at a rate of 20 to 40 miles per hour, up to distances of 40 miles or more. Volcanoes found in the Hawaiian island chain are the non-explosive type of volcanoes. There's an explosive and there's eruptive. Mount St. Helens is an explosive type of volcano compared to the volcanoes seen in Hawaii, where they just spew lava and ash or fog. Hawaiian Island volcanoes have a steady outward flow of thin liquid type lava, so it's very viscous, so it flows at a higher rate of speed compared to other volcanoes where the lava is thicker. These types of eruptions are still potentially dangerous because of the sheer volume of the lava that comes out of volcanoes in Hawaii. Adding to the deadly potential, the lava flow usually flows down very steep slopes, cliffs, before reaching the ocean or entire towns. What you need to do is you need to follow your local authorities' emergency plans and incorporate your action plan. Don't omit one for the other. Make sure that you follow both. Have your action plan and incorporate the authorities' emergency plan. And make sure when you're making your plan that your plan coincides with the authorities' emergency plan. Have a disaster supply kit, which we'll cover a little bit later, in every location you might be at, such as home, a workplace, and a vehicle, because when a disaster hits, you never know where you're going to be at the time. So it might be good, if you can, to have one at your house, have one in your vehicle, have one in your wife's vehicle, have one at your work, your wife's work if you work, and if you can, have one at your kid's school. I don't know if the schools permit that or not. That's something to discuss with them. And other things to consider is, do you live in an urban area or do you live in a rural area? And then plan accordingly. What kind of building do you live in? You live in a single-family house, a two-story, you live in a high-rise like in downtown Honolulu, or you live in a mobile or a modular home. These things to take into consideration when planning your disaster supply kit and an emergency evacuation plan. If trapped inside a building, close all doors and windows, close vents on the roof and AC and heat ducts, and park vehicles inside and bring pets indoor. If you're in ranch land, like on the Big Island and stuff, try to bring your livestock and stuff into the barns and stuff because of the volcanic ash. If trapped outside of a building in an open area, seek immediate shelter indoors, whatever shelter you can find. Just don't remain in the open and try to hope for the best. Avoid being downwind or downstream from a volcano. You want to move from that area if at all possible. You want to protect against volcanic ash. Wear long sleeve shirts and pants if you can get to it, or to have that in your disaster kit. Like many people in Hawaii, we run around in our flip-flop shorts and t-shirts. So as part of your disaster kit, keep in the car and stuff, consider having long sleeve shirts, pants, some goggles to protect your eyes against the ash. Wear dust masks so you're not breathing it. If you're out of a dust mask, a wet cloth, or put it over your mouth and breathe through that. Do not run your vehicle or generators because the ash will draw into the engine and seize the engines up. So once the ash subsides and stuff, you're definitely going to want your vehicles to be used or generators to be used. So try not to run them while the ash is thick but still present. Save that until when it is subsided. Making a disaster supply kit. This is per person, so obviously if there's 3 people in your family, you want to kind of times this by 3. Take the first thing, for example, is water 1 gallon per day for a minimum of 3 days. So if you have 3 people in your family, you're going to times that by 3, so you want 3 gallons. So again, this is just a brief list, and the quantities in there is per person. So keep that in mind when I go through it. I already discussed 1 gallon of water per person for a minimum of 3 days. Food, 3-day supply. You want non-perishable food, canned good, MREs are great. Space packs, astronaut food, those things work really good. They fit in a small area and they're really light. The problem with cans is they can be heavy. You want a radio. You want a battery-powered radio or a hand-cranked radio. That way you can listen to your local emergency channels and get updates on where to evacuate or updates on disaster. Also, it's good to have a weather radio, that they call it a NOAA radio. You can pick those up fairly cheap with extra batteries as well. You want a good flashlight with extra batteries. You want a first aid kit. It doesn't have to be a really big one, but you're going to want the basics in case something should happen to you, predominantly cuts, bruises, abrasions, hopefully not any serious lacerations, but consider that as well. You want to whistle for signaling for help, because the ash and things like that might be hard to see, it might be hard to find, and a whistle helps people hear where you're at. They can't see you, and they can go to the noise instead of looking for you. We've covered dust mask, moist wipes, garbage bags, and plastic ties is a good thing to have. You can clean up bathroom issues. Wet wipes, garbage bag for disposal, plastic ties to make sure the bag's sealed. You want a good multi-tool, like one of those Leathermans or the Gerbers, to have just in case you have to turn a nut or repair something, open a valve or close a valve, any type of that thing like that. You want a good old-fashioned manual can opener, which you have to open some cans. Come in handy for other things. And make sure you have local maps. I know you might have been born and raised there your whole life, but it's good to have local maps that way you can put things on there, find out where the evacuation center's at, determine the mileage. You can kind of look at terrain depending on what kind of map you get. And then cell phones. Get a cell phone. Have a cell phone in there. Even if it's one of those disposable 911 cell phones only, they work. Make sure you have a charger, like an inverter, where you can charge an AC powered battery off of DC current, or a solar charger, those little solar panels. The problem with the solar panels is if it's ashy, you have a lot of ash in the area, then it's going to be hard to charge because there's very little sun. So take that into consideration as well. Maybe buy an extra battery for the cell phone just in case. Plans for after disaster and what to do next. This is where we often forget about, okay, now I survived through it, what do we do next? You want to stay away from volcanic ash and use personal protective equipment, your goggles, your dust mask, whatever it may be. You want to stay indoors if at all possible. Basically shelter in place. Stay there until you get other notification on the radio or emergency personnel arrive at your location and move you. You want to clear your rooftops from the volcanic ash base. Again, it clouds up your vents and everything like that, and it's heavy because your roof collapse or damage, so you want to clear that off when possible. You want to avoid driving because of the ash, because of the lava flow, and you want to check your emergency equipment like generators and batteries and anything else while you have time. Make sure everything's working properly and is in its place if you can find it. You want to listen to radio for emergency updates. I would suggest, like, if it's a battery power, don't leave it on the whole time. I would say every half hour, turn it on for maybe 15 minutes, 10 minutes. Doesn't take very long to get an update because you're constant on those, and then shut it back off. Help in your neighborhood, help the elderly or disabled persons. If you're fine, your family situated, and you're basically just waiting to get rescued, if there's a large family in your neighborhood, or elderly or disabled person, do the right thing, try to help them out. Wait for help and instructions on what to do next. Don't go wandering around. Best thing to do is stay in place and wait for emergency personnel to get there. You have your cell phones, you can always call when lines are up and let them know where you're at and they can get to you. So it's better to stay in place than to run around, get lost, or get injured. Self-rescue. All else fails, emergency personnel aren't getting to you, nothing's happening, then you can do self-rescue if help does not arrive. You got to outweigh, the danger versus the benefit. Only if the danger of staying is greater than the danger of leaving the shelter. Summary. If you live in a volcanic active area, you need to have a plan. You need to have a plan that accounts for a volcanic disaster and in case of eruption. I want to create an evacuation plan and what to do afterwards. So make sure your evacuation plans covers you guys getting out, and then it covers you guys being in place for a few days, and then what to do afterwards and get back. and you want to build a disaster survival kit. There's many things on the internet and stuff like that. Disaster survival, there's local stores and areas that I'm sure everywhere that can help you out on building a survival kit. You can always go to FEMA.gov. You can go with the local fire departments, ranger departments. They're really good at helping you out with that. They don't know how to do it or they can't do it. They can point you in the right direction and give you the right people. And just to summarize, again, in the United States, believe it or not, is the third most volcanically active area in the world, next to Japan and Indonesia. The United States experiences about 5 earthquakes a year, with the most of them occurring in Alaska and Hawaii. With an evacuation plan, you and your family's ability to survive decreases. Without an evacuation plan, you and your family's ability to survive decreases. Compound this with not having a disaster survival kit with supplies to cover the minimal of the needs for 3 days, your chances of survival decrease even more. So it's very important to plan accordingly. There is no excuse not to have a plan and a survival kit. Information is readily available and websites like FEMA.gov and Ready.gov. There's a wealth of knowledge there. You can tell you how to build it, where to go, other links and things like that. Thank you for listening to my presentation. I hope that this helps you, and hope that this will help keep you and your family safe in the event of a disaster. I pray that it doesn't, but in case it does, I hope this has valuable information. Thank you very much for listening to my presentation.